Hello?
Hey, it's 2012 calling. We want our Tumbler back.
Who remembers these phone cases? I was absolutely obsessed. I had a big chunky one with a Lala Loopsy doll on it. I mean, I love these things. I didn't have the patience or the resources back then to make my own, but I thought, what a fun project to create a similar look on a tumbler. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how I created that. I hope you guys enjoy it. This was so much fun. I'm going to have all these things that you see in the video listed and linked down in the description box. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, you guys, so as usual, I'm starting with a fully prepped and sanded cup that I'm going to spray paint with a light coat of a flat white spray paint. As soon as that's dry, I'm going to go over that with 2 light coats of Design Masters Pink Glow spray paint. I didn't film that part because I forgot. And then as soon as my spray paint's dried, I coated my cup with about 30 milliliters of epoxy that I mixed some glitter into. The glitter that I mixed in was Regina George from Peachy Olive Glitters. I let that dry for about 4 to 6 hours. I sanded the top rim down really well. Then I put a second coat of epoxy on over that. That second coat was about 15 milliliters of epoxy. I let that dry for at least 8 hours. Then I lightly sanded the sides where I would be adhering my rhinestones and cabochons. I'm going to measure the height and width of my tumbler, and I've got a lid to a little storage bin that's roughly the same size, so I can lay out my cabochons and make sure that I have enough. Obviously, if you didn't have a lid like this that was like a similar size, you could just make like a template out of a piece of paper or something and pre-arrange your little cute pieces here to make sure that you have enough. The pack that I bought, which I will link down below, was more than enough with plenty left over to do this little 10-ounce stubby. This is a 10-ounce stubby from Craft Haven. I'll have a link to it as well as a discount code down in the description box. The glue that I'm using today is the Liquid Fusion Heavy Duty. I got mine from Amazon and I will have it linked down below in the description box. So I just started by putting like a pretty good size amount of glue down to glue my first little cabochon on, and I let that dry for just a little bit, not too long, just a little bit, before I started placing the other stones around it. Now, I'm using several different sizes of stones, which I will list below, from Peachy Olive Glitters. I'm using flatback pearls, and I'm also using some smaller little cabochons that came in a different pack. I will link those as well, as I found the little cabochon things from Amazon. The reason I want to let that larger piece kind of dry a little bit is it will kind of move and travel more than you want it to on your cup. And you don't want that to happen because they're so heavy. So if you like tilt your cup at all while you're placing your other stones, they tend to kind of like fall down a bit. So I'm just going to place the glue directly onto my tumbler here and then spread it out thinly with the pointy side of my jewel picker. Then I wipe my jewel picker off with a paper towel and I just go to town placing my stones. I suppose we're using what is known as the scatter method for this, which is, in my opinion, pretty easy. Just everything fits together like a puzzle. You want to, try and line up the stones that are going around that top rim as straight as possible so you get a nice clean look. You'll also notice that I'm kind of staying away from that exposed line of stainless steel that we created at the top. Because we have a glittered and epoxied base for this design, I created a seal for that top rim like I would any other glittered and epoxied tumbler. So earlier I had mentioned we sanded down that first layer of epoxy after it dried. We sanded it down enough to expose a good fine line of stainless steel. and then we put our final coat over that, which established the seal on the outer rim rather than the very top rim where it's more vulnerable. So from here, this design is really pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you just kind of place your larger pieces fairly close together or however far apart you want them, and then fill in the spaces in between with all your smaller pieces. And because you have so many large pieces making up space in your design, it's pretty quick. I mean, I finished this in less than 2 days. I mean, the first session I spent about 2 hours on it, and I had almost completed the whole cup. I had a very small section left to do in the second day. So I'm a big fan of doing these instead of the really super tedious stones, but it was fun, and I really enjoyed putting this design together. I don't know that I fully achieved my goal of making this look like my old phone cases, but it was a similar vibe. My 5-year-old absolutely loves this tumbler. And I do too. It's fun. And, you know, I really think that these will wear similarly to just any kind of other regular rhinestone cup. The larger pieces are being adhered just as well, if not better than the stones. So it feels pretty solid to me. You'll notice that I'm working in small sections at a time. This glue tends to dry a little bit quick, and you don't want the glue to dry before you get the stones on. So I recommend, you know, working in smaller, like 1-inch sections. That's kind of the advantage, I think, to working with the 2-part epoxy adhesives like the Bob Smith Industry ones, where you have, you know, a half-hour working time with those, and you can do larger sections at a time. I am still practicing using the 2-part epoxy stuff, so I just kind of stuck to what I knew on this one as far as adhesive goes, and I've gotten great results with this adhesive so far. Once I was done placing all my stones, I let this dry for 3 days. The full cure time on this particular glue is 24 hours, but somebody in my comment section told me in my first rhinestone video that I should let it sit for a few days before I washed it, so I figured 3 days was a good amount of time. I'm using a X-Acto knife to go over the top rim to scrape off any excess epoxy that might have dripped down a little bit from when we glittered and epoxied our cup. And then we're going to clean this cup up. Anytime we're doing epoxy or rhinestones or any kind of tumbler, we want to make sure that the inside is just as clean and new as it was when we originally took it out of the box. All right, so I'm going over this whole thing with my Scrub Mommy and just some Dawn Power Wash. Try to get any of the wax that might have been on the face of any of those stones from our little jewel picker tool, and then we're going to really clean up the inside. If we had any additional spray paint or anything inside of our tumbler, we would just use a paper towel with some acetone and or some rubbing alcohol. Get it nice and clean, put a little elbow grease in there if you have to, and then scrub it clean for that final wash like we're doing here. All right. So after this, I just patted it dry with a dish towel, a clean one, of course, and it was done. This was such a fun and easy project, and I promise you it was quick. It really was not as tedious as it looks. So I really can't wait to make a new one of these. Now I'm probably going to spend a fortune on these little sweet cabochon things. But it was so fun. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. If you guys make one of these, be sure to tag me so I can see it. I'm a huge fan of this look. I love kawaii, Decoden kind of stuff. It's so much fun. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my video. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every Saturday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. And a big thank you to all of our Flynn Sisters exclusive members. Thank you for your pledge. Your support means the world to our channel. If you love this video, you could check out our last video here. Also be sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and of course subscribe for all our new videos that come out every Wednesday and Saturday. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.